Walk into almost any department store in America and look at the menswear section. Among the racks of suits and shelves of folded shirts, you will find it, a small embroidered figure on a polo horse, mallet raised mid-swing. Ralph Lauren. The name alone conjures Newport yacht clubs, inherited wealth, an America where money is old and taste is effortless. It looks like a heritage brand, a company born from the country clubs and prep schools of the East Coast elite. But the structure behind that logo is far simpler than it appears, because none of it is real. Chapter 1. The Invention of Old Money. The man who built Ralph Lauren was born Ralph Lifshitz, the youngest of 4 children, sharing a single bedroom with his brothers in a cramped Bronx apartment. His father painted houses. His mother stretched every dollar. The family had fled persecution in Belarus with nothing. Ralph changed his name at 16 to escape relentless schoolyard bullying. He never attended fashion school. He never played polo. He had never been near a country club in his life. And yet, this poor Jewish kid from the roughest borough in New York would construct the most successful fashion brand America has ever produced. A $12 billion empire built on a heritage that never existed. A fantasy so powerful that generations of actual aristocrats would pay billions to buy their way in. To understand how that happened, we have to go back to 1967. Ralph was 28 years old, working for a tie manufacturer, living with his new wife Ricky in a tiny apartment below the L train in Manhattan. The trains rumbled overhead every few minutes, shaking their walls, but Ralph had spent years studying. At Brooks Brothers, he earned what he called his PhD in American style, watching old money families buy their Oxford shirts and navy blazers, learning what made the upper class tick. The rich did not chase trends. They bought quality, timelessness, heritage. Then, in 1966, Ralph bumped into Douglas Fairbanks Jr., the 1930s film star. Fairbanks was wearing a European-style double-breasted suit with a wide, bold tie, completely different from the narrow, boring neckties everyone wore in mid-60s Manhattan. Ralph stopped. He thought, I could make ties like that. I could make them better. He borrowed $50,000, rented a single drawer in a showroom at the Empire State Building, and launched a line of 4-inch wide ties, at a time when skinny was in, when cheap polyester dominated. He called his brand Polo, not because he played the sport. He had never been anywhere near a polo match. The name conjured aristocracy, weekend estates, a lifestyle most Americans could only dream about. Chapter 2. The System That Sold a Fantasy. But here is where the system becomes interesting. The ties started selling. Neiman Marcus placed an order for 1,200. Then Bloomingdale's, the hottest department store in America, called Ralph in for a meeting. They loved his ties. The width, the fabrics. There was just one condition. Actually, 2. Narrow the ties to match current trends, and remove your polo label. Replace it with the Bloomingdale's label. Standard practice, they assured him. This is how the business works. Ralph sat in that meeting, 28 years old, broke, desperate for the sale. He refused. He walked out, thinking his legs would crumble. For the next 6 months, he barely scraped by. And then, Bloomingdale's called back. They couldn't find ties like his anywhere else. His way. Under the polo label. 50 years later, he told Wall Street analysts, had I changed that tie, I would not be here today. This was the mechanism Ralph had discovered, and it had nothing to do with clothing. Ralph was not selling ties. He was selling access to a world. The product was incidental. The identity was everything. Chapter 3. The Near Death. And that difference cost him nearly everything. By 1970, orders were pouring in. He won his first Coty Award. He launched the polo shirt in 17 colors. Every team has its color. Polo has 17. But Ralph was an artist, not an operator. He was drowning in logistics he never learned to manage. Inventory sat unshipped. Vendors went unpaid. Cash was evaporating. He later confessed, I almost blew my business. Ralph faced a choice. Lose everything, or bet everything. He took $150,000, his entire life savings. Every dollar he had earned since that single drawer in the Empire State Building. He injected it into a company that was days from collapse. Then he recruited Peter Strom as his business partner, handing over 10% equity in exchange for someone who could run the systems while Ralph ran the soul. He survived. Barely. Chapter 4. The Cost of Control. The brand exploded. By 1997, consumers spent $5 billion a year on Ralph Lauren products. He dressed presidents, movie stars, Olympic athletes. He designed the costumes for The Great Gatsby. He launched fragrances, home furnishings, paint colors, over 400 of them. But the same strategies that built the empire began to undermine it. And here's the mechanism that made it inevitable. By 2015, 26 different licensing deals meant outside manufacturers were making Ralph Lauren products, each one optimizing for their own margin, not the brand. One factory made polo shirts, another made bedsheets, a third made paint. Quality diverged wildly. A consumer walks into an outlet store, touches a cheap-feeling Ralph Lauren shirt, and their brain silently updates what the logo is worth. The system punishes dilution invisibly until the stock chart screams. The stock collapsed, down 40% in 2015, another 20% in 2016. Ralph stepped down as CEO, handing control to an outsider. It lasted 20 months. Ralph could not let go. This was his company, his vision, his life's work. The new CEO was out. The same iron grip that built the empire now threatened to destroy it. The system does not care who built it. Chapter 5. The Turnaround. Ralph found a new CEO, Patrice Louvet, but Louvet's contract contained an unusual clause. Ralph retained final say in all brand and creative decisions. Louvet would handle strategy. Ralph would protect the soul. They pulled back from outlets by 40%. They cut inventory, they stopped chasing trends and doubled down on the classics. The polo shirt, the cable sweater, the flag sweater. They remembered what made Ralph Lauren special. Timelessness, quality, the promise of American style. By 2024, revenues recovered to $6.6 billion. The stock more than doubled from its lows. 5 million new customers in a single year. The brand survived, but not because the products changed, because the system loop reset itself. Dilution triggers crisis, crisis forces discipline, discipline restores the illusion, and the illusion was durable enough to survive the cycle. Chapter 6. The Architecture of Dreams. Today, Ralph Lauren has a net worth of approximately $12 billion. He owns a 17,000-acre ranch in Colorado. He was knighted by Queen Elizabeth II, the first American designer to receive that honor. But here is what the numbers cannot show you. Ralph Lauren is not a fashion company. It never was. It is a meaning-making machine, a system that converts identity into billions of dollars. And the most destabilizing truth of all, the system works better when the identity is invented. Real heritage comes with awkward contradictions, faded family portraits, uncomfortable truths, things that do not photograph well. Manufactured heritage is clean, consistent, scalable. A poor kid from the Bronx who shared a bedroom with 3 brothers understood this better than any aristocrat ever could. He sold ties from a drawer. He walked away from the deal that would have made him. He built the greatest brand illusion in American history, not by designing clothes, by designing dreams. Because the most powerful brands do not sell you products, they sell you a version of yourself you want to become. If you enjoy uncovering the hidden stories behind everyday industries, like and subscribe for more documentaries like this.